Good day. This is Jan Tepace, Teacher 1 from Science Department. I am assigned to present an example of weekly home learning plan for online distance learning in Science setting. I will also share activities and formative assessment that is included in the WHLP. In creating the weekly home learning plan, it is important that it is anchored to the budget of works based on MEMS and IDEA instructional process. The IDEA instructional process is composed of introduction, development, engagement, and assimilation. For this WHLP, the learning competency that should be achieved is to describe the components of a scientific investigation. This will be the guiding star of the lesson and learning tasks to be given to the student for the whole week. At the start of the lesson, which is the introduction, the first part or first phase of IDEA instructional process, the teacher should utilize appropriate strategies in presenting the MEMS, since it is important to let the students know the desired outcomes at the end of the lesson. In these lessons, which is the scientific method in Science 7, assessment of the prior knowledge of the students is done through pre-tests or graphic organizers such as KWL chart. In this KWL chart, the student will only answer the first two columns, what I know, what I want to know. In this assessment, the learners will identify what they already know and what they want to know about the topic, which is the components of the scientific method. All of these activities will be posted in the Google Classroom and Facebook group. This is an example of the KWL chart activity sheet for the students using the Google Docs. One of the formative assessment of this lesson, which is to check the prior knowledge of the students. After introduction, there will be the development phase. For the development phase, teacher presents activities, tasks, contents of values, interest to the learners. In this phase, students is guided to develop and understand new concepts and skills about scientific methods. To guide them in their own learning, there will be synchronous discussion of the lesson via Zoom, which the lesson is presented using Canva. During the synchronous discussion, learners are provided with activities that are based on the current and real-life situations. There are also activities that allows the learners to describe the components of the scientific methods, such as picture analysis, open-ended questions, and building concepts. So dito, paunti-unti lang natin ibibigay yung mga part kasi actually the scientific method is one of the topic in science na medyo mahirap ituro sa bata because there are lots of scientific processes na dapat alam na ng bata para magawa niya yung scientific method. There are also formative assessment given during the synchronous discussion to develop and master the concept and skills of the lesson. After the synchronous discussions, students are assigned to accomplish learning tasks from the modules which are digitalized using Google Slides, Docs, which are posted in the Google Classroom and Facebook group. Aside from the module, supplementary videos are also provided to help the students in understanding the lesson. This will be done asynchronously. Here are some of the examples of formative assessment in the development phase. Here is a graphic organizer. This is an example of activities wherein the examples are examples are based on the real life situation. Okay, where they will identify and describe the steps of the scientific methods. If the student have developed and mastered the skills of the lesson during the development phase, it is time to proceed to engagement phase. In this phase, the teacher will allow the learners to be engaged in various activities to meaningfully connect their learnings after during the task in the development phase. This is also the part where the learners is exposed to real-life situations. It allows them to produce products and performances which lead him or her to fully understand the skills and concepts of the MELP. The learning tasks here are from the modules where are designed to determine and identify, describe the components of the scientific methods. So there should be feedback along the engagement part, which is very helpful for the students. Siyempre yan ay medyo binibitawan na natin sila ng konti, kaya dapat may mga feedback pang kaunti tayong ibinibigay for our students. In assimilation, which is the last part of idea instructional process in assimilation this is the phase where the students will process what they have learned from the lesson. There will be short quiz, pwede yan, in a Google form to assess if the students were able to understand the lesson. In this case, the components of the scientific method. There is also the KWL chart ulit, which is a reflective assessment, which is so helpful where the learners are encouraged to assess their own learning by comparing what they have learned or what they already know at the beginning of the lesson and what they have learned at the end of the lesson. So, itong KWL chart ay magandang ibigay sa bata kapag kauna, then sa dulo na ng klase. For example, at the first, introduction phase, you will just give the what I know and what I want to know, and then after that, in the assimilation phase, which is the last part of the lesson or the instructional process, okay, you will just let the student answer what I learned. So in this way, we can assess what they have learned, as well as the student will also assess what they learned on their own. Okay, so in assimilation, okay, the learners are also encouraged to transfer their own knowledge or skills in real life situation. Here is an example, okay, which is entitled Doing Scientific Method. Students will determine how the resting heart rate changes depending on the position such as standing, sitting, and lying down. They would look for a partner. So since nasa bahay sila, walang kaklase, okay, you can tell them to look for a partner, one member of their family as their partner. So eto, meron na silang interaction, yun nga lang, sa pamilya nga lang nila. Okay, so through this task, they can demonstrate the skills and steps of scientific methods that they have learned in the previous phases. In this activity, the learners will be able to describe the components of the scientific method, since they will apply the concept and skills of the scientific method in completing this activity. So this type of activity is very helpful to students. So these are the sample activities or activity sheets for an assessment, a formative assessment used in the assimilation phase. Okay, so gumamit tayo dito ng Google Slide and Google Form. Actually, I recommend using Google Slides in making your activity sheets kasi pagdating sa cellphone ito o sa mobile phone, yun kasi madalas na ginagamit ng mga bata. Pagka tinignan nila yan, madali nila rin kasi na-edit at nasasagutan. So, that's only my recommendation. Formative assessment. So, according to Everly Center, the goal of formative assessment is to monitor student learning to provide ongoing feedback that can be used by the instructors to improve their teaching and by students to improve their learnings. So, in this way, you can assess the student progress in any parts of the idea instructional phases. Hindi porket formative assessment, yan ay dapat sa simulation lang. No, you can always insert assessment in any part of your WHLP since constant assessment of the student's progress is important to ensure the mastery of the MELC. So that's it. I hope this presentation is helpful for you or for everyone. So at the end of this presentation, I want to leave this quote. Each assessment was an opportunity for feedback and help, not a dreadful experience in humiliation. Thank you.